to lower your creatinine by 16.8% or more with the healthiest breakfast on earth. Catherine here, I'm a doctor in natural medicine, and today we talk about breakfast staples. Before that, imagine this for a moment. You wake up, the morning sun gently kisses your face, and you feel it, true vitality. Your energy is overflowing because you are no longer haunted by worries about your kidney function, blood pressure, or blood sugar levels. You know that what you are doing to reverse your CKD and improve your quality of life is working. But how do we turn this vision into your reality? The answer is clear. Through the right diet, starting from the breakfast. Calling breakfast the most important meal of the day is not just cliche. A groundbreaking study has shown that skipping breakfast can increase the risk of renal problems. And today we're going to revolutionize your mornings, making sure that every single food on your plate is not just delicious, but perfectly aligned with your journey to a better kidney health. Starting with a breakfast staple that has more benefits for the kidneys than people realize. Number 5 is eggs. But hold on, before you start whipping up a full omelette, let me drop some knowledge on you. Your kidneys don't exactly love all parts of the egg. In fact, they've got a serious beef with the yolk. Yeah, the yolk is basically the deadbeat roommate of the egg, taking up space and contributing nothing but trouble. So, what do? You toss that yolk like it's last year's fashion trend and stick with the whites. Egg whites are low in phosphorus and rich in high-quality protein, and that's way more important than most people give it credit for. So, why am I recommending egg whites, you may ask? You see, in a recent study, 120 CKD stage 3 and 4 patients managed to pull off a reversal of the decline in their GFR. How? By fine-tuning their protein intake, not just the amount, but the quality of it too. And guess which food topped the charts for the best protein to phosphorus ratio? You guessed it, egg whites. So yes, you can still make a meat omelette or a scramble with just the whites. And if you're not into wasting food or you just can't be bothered with separating yolks, grab yourself one of those egg white cartons from the store. Now go ahead and whip up that egg white omelette like the renal diet rockstar you are. Just make sure to leave the yolks to someone else. Maybe to the guy still convinced butter is a healthy food, he'll need all the help he can get. Just don't get too carried away with those egg whites as well. Sure, they're packed with high quality protein, but that's still protein. And you know what the first rule of the renal diet is? No, it's not that. It's you make sure you don't overshoot your daily goal for protein. Okay, that's the first rule. Because if you overshoot your daily protein goal, you end up causing more harm than good. So eat egg whites, but only if your total daily protein intake is already low enough. And that's exactly where our next entry for today can help us. Number 5 is low protein staple foods, such as low protein bread, in particular since we're talking about breakfast, but also pasta, rice, flour, crackers, and maybe for those patients that are really struggling to keep their weight on, even cookies. Alright guys, as I was saying, today everyone with kidney disease is supposed to strictly limit their protein intake if they want to improve their GFR. And that's something you probably already know if you follow me here regularly. And if you don't, well, maybe consider subscribing, especially if you like corny jokes and being told what to eat. Because today, the rule book for the renal diet for kidney disease clearly states not just that you need to limit your protein intake, because the less protein you eat, the less the chance of ending up in dialysis. It even prescribes the exact amount of protein you must eat every day with CKD. Now, there is a problem with these numbers because I know that they mean very little to you if you look at them like they are. I mean, 0.55 grams of protein per kilograms of ideal body weight. What does that even mean? Well, as you can see, it means not just that you need to avoid, meat and dairy, but also that you must be very careful with foods such as legumes, seeds, and even stuff such as bread and rice. Yeah, guys, what I mean here is that the amount of protein you need is so low. You must even be careful with foods that are not usually considered high in protein. In fact, as you can see from this example, for a 60 kilograms of person or 130 pounds, protein goal is around 37 grams a day. This is important because, as you can see, a portion of rice is 4 grams of protein and a slice of bread is around 3 grams of protein. Now, all this protein adds up faster than your mechanic's bill when you are in for an oil change. And if you're not cautious, you end up eating too much protein even before you fill yourself up. Yeah, you know where I'm getting at, right? Imagine if you could have the bread and the rice but without the added protein. Your diet will be so much easier to follow. Studies have actually found out that CKD patients who eat low-protein staples regularly tend to get way closer to their daily target of protein, which is basically like saying delaying dialysis. Now, in Italy, where people are legally allowed to punch you, magedigo, we have been recommending low-protein pastas to CKD patients for ages. Some brands that sell products such as low-protein pasta and bread include Aperten, that is also available from some websites in the US, Canada, and Australia. Another brand is called Flavis. This brand is called Low Profin and ships in Australia and New Zealand. These brands could be, however, harder to find in some other countries, but it's still worth giving it a try. Up next, number 4, let's brew up some more controversy with another breakfast classic that's hiding some serious kidney detoxing properties: black coffee. Yeah, you heard me. Good old black coffee. Eggs, bread, coffee. Who knew the ultimate kidney-friendly breakfast was basically a diner special? And I know what you are going to ask now, but Catherine, is coffee really safe for a renal diet, or are you just trying to justify your caffeine addiction? So, there is a controversy about coffee and kidney health that's still ongoing today. Some studies say that it may raise blood pressure and that it may make you lose sleep, and both these issues are dangerous for the kidneys. Now, there are even some conspiracy theorists out there with their little tinfoil hats that think that coffee has enough acrylamide to cause cancer. But I'm not too worried about that. Actually, some studies say that coffee is really good for the kidneys as long as it is black and unsweetened, especially for people with diabetes. Coffee is loaded with nitric oxide, which sounds like something out of a Fast and Furious movie, but it is actually great for relaxing blood vessels. Plus, coffee is packing more antioxidants than green tea, which makes you wonder why we aren't all downing espressos like it's our job. There is even research suggesting that a daily dose of caffeine could lower the risk of an early death or kidney failure for those with CKD. So, who is right? Should we be worshipping our morning cup of joe or treating it like a dangerous addiction? Well, recent research may have the answer. What they found out is that a gene variant present in part of the population define how our bodies react to coffee. So yeah, turns out the answer might lie in our genes, literally. Some of us are just wired to metabolize caffeine slower than others. So, while one person's cup of coffee might give them the energy to run a marathon, another person's might have them counting sheep all night. Okay, so this isn't exactly making things crystal clear. Let's break it down. Should you drink coffee if you have kidney disease, or is that morning ritual just a show ride to disaster? Here's the deal. Coffee is generally good for you as long as you don't treat it like water. A couple of cups of black coffee in the morning? You're golden. 8 cups throughout the day? Well, you might want to consider cutting back before your kidneys stage a protest. And if you're worried you might be one of those people who shouldn't touch coffee with a 10-foot pole, there's a simple test. Just measure your blood pressure before and after your coffee fix. If that number is creeping up, like your anxiety after too much caffeine, it might be time to cut back. Oh, and a quick PSA. If you've never been a coffee drinker, now's probably not the time to start experimenting. Stick to your herbal tea and leave the jittery hands and wide-eyed nights to the rest of us caffeine junkies. Alright guys, we went through some food staples. Time now to talk about the breakfast superstar that everyone's sleeping on. Number 3, barley flakes. Now, if barley flakes give you flashbacks to rolled oats, that's because they're basically oats cooler, healthier cousin. They're steamed, rolled, and dried just like oats, but here's the kicker. Barley may actually be better for your kidneys. Yeah, you heard me. Barley is the low glycemic king, which means it's basically diabetes' worst enemy. It's also loaded with magnesium, so it's out here lowering blood pressure like it's on a mission to save lives. Move over! Oats! There's a new sheriff in town. A half cup of barley flakes, or about 60 grams, has 8 grams of dietary fiber. This is 4 times the fiber you can get from a whole medium-sized apple. So, gram per gram, barley flakes have 12 times the amount of fiber in apples. And it's not all. This is not just any fiber, like the regular insoluble fiber you get from most fruits. I mean, don't get me wrong, all fiber is healthy, but this is soluble fiber, the VIP of the fiber world. It dissolves in water and turns into this gel-like miracle that controls blood sugar, drops cholesterol like it's hot, drop it like it's hot, and even feeds the good bacteria in your gut. So yeah, barley flakes are one of the most powerful detoxifiers you can have on your table. The only reason not to eat them is if you can't find them. Stick with oats in that case. Up next, another morning staple that's healthier than people realize. Before that, a very important question. What about skipping breakfast altogether? So this is for all the I'm too busy for breakfast folks. Look, I get it. Skipping breakfast is trendy now, like wearing skinny jeans back in 2010. Everyone and their dog is doing intermittent fasting, swearing it's the secret to weight loss, heart health, and probably world peace. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that intermittent fasting is a fad diet, like a keto or a carnivore. And I'm not even saying that it doesn't work. Fasting can work if done right. But that's a big IF, by the way. Because you see, for some people, intermittent fasting doesn't work at first, and they turn it from a way to lose weight fast to just skipping breakfast on the long term, which is a very bad choice. Skipping breakfast every day is like a personal vendetta against your kidneys, says science. A very large study conducted on 4,370 participants was actually able to prove a link between the number of breakfast participants had in a week and the incidence of chronic kidney disease, which means that the less the number of breakfasts you have, the more likely you are to be damaging your kidneys. So while you're over here thinking you're hacking your way to better health by skipping breakfast, your kidneys are in the corner crying. And I know what you're thinking. But Catherine, skipping breakfast worked for my cousin's yoga instructor's roommate. Well, good for her. But you see, anecdotal evidence like that is exactly why we are fed so much misinformation from the internet every day. Reality is that fasting for too long without eating or drinking is just like leaving your kidneys in the Sahara Desert with no water and a death wish. Long story short, breakfast isn't just the most important meal of the day. It's the one thing standing between you and a kidney-related apocalypse. Time for our number 2. Now, are you ready for the next breakfast staple? It's one that some people still think they cannot eat because apparently misinformation spreads faster than your aunt's essential oils cure everything Facebook posts. Number 2, avocado. Yes, this superfood is well deserving of a number 2 spot on today's top list. And the reason is its fat content. Now, let's get real. While most fruits are out here carb loading like they're prepping for a marathon, the avocado is like, nah, I'm just gonna be over here rich in fats and living my best life. This makes avocados the kidney's best buddy and your heart's BFF too, especially if you're dealing with diabetes. Why? Because unlike that cookie you're secretly eyeing, avocados won't spike your blood sugar. They're actually here to help you slow down your carb digestion, actually making sure your blood sugar doesn't do the Harlem Shake every time you eat a meal. Here's the kicker. Avocados are rich in polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats, which are basically the superheroes of the fat world. They help lower your bad cholesterol levels. I mean, there is actual science behind this. Yes, a study found that people who showed an avocado into their daily moderate fat diet ended up with lower bad cholesterol than those who didn't. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Lower cholesterol just from eating a damn avocado. Amazing, right? It's like a magic trick, but tastier. And as if that wasn't enough, let's talk about the vitamins. Avocados are like the whole foods of fruits. They're packed with vitamin C, E, K, and B6 plus riboflavin, niacin, folate, pantothenic acid, and magnesium. It's basically a multivitamin in a fruit, except it tastes good and doesn't make you gag when you swallow it. But wait, there is more. Potassium! Yeah, avocados are loaded with it. And before you freak out thinking, wait, isn't potassium bad for kidney patients? Calm down. Potassium is not the enemy by default. So if your levels are okay, avocados are still on the menu. Okay, our number 1 is coming up and it's a game changer, a food that can seriously lower your creatinine levels. Drum roll please! Brazil nuts. Yep, these little guys are nuts in more ways than one. Sure, they're packed with healthy fats like their avocado cousins, but the real reason you should be munching on one of these bad boys a day is something far more magical. Selenium. Selenium is a mineral that's been used to fight kidney disease in medical literature. You see, a deficiency in this mineral, which is pretty common, is considered a cause of kidney damage. Even better, correcting this deficiency has been observed to boost kidney health. So, selenium is that mineral nobody ever talks about. I mean, before I started to talk about it, but it's actually a key player in fighting kidney disease. And the best part? By eating 1 to 2 Brazil nuts per day, you will get the same amount of selenium that people in the study I just mentioned got from supplements. Okay, wait, what are you saying? That I forgot to show you which fruits are great for breakfast? Well, don't worry, you will find them in my video up here, and this is all for today. Thank you for watching. God bless you all. Take care. Ciao.